Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream Park today. A beautiful day once again in South Florida. Kind of looking at the track right now. Looks pretty good to me, Brian. Kind of looking at the card today, we're going to have 10 races on tap on this Friday. That little later post of 105. So Ashley Mayu, Brian Nato here as well. And, kind of looking at today, we have the $250,000 guarantee in the Rainbow Six. We have a lot of action coming up throughout the weekend. We'll touch upon those things later, with tomorrow being first Saturday, and then some special news about the Rainbow Six on Sunday.
Yeah, mandatory payout on Sunday. So it's just a huge weekend here at Gulfstream Park. Of course, that's Santa Anita as well. And as Ashley said, we'll get to that a little bit later in the lightning round. So much to cover on what is a huge card tomorrow, Fountain of Youth Day.
Yeah, we have a lot of items in the lightning round later. So let's jump right into the races today. 10 on tap. We'll kick things off on the Tapeta in race 1. 5.5 furlongs is the distance for these $25,000 maiden claimers. And looking at these horses, I'm curious to see how you structured your early pick 5.
So it's a $36 ticket. I lost the one horse comes out of this race. I added in the 5. So we go 3 deep here. We'll talk about it in a second. Race 2, I go down inside to Cagua, but I want a little bit of a spread. Race 3, I'm pretty condensed in Steak and Cheese and Alley-Oop Johnny. The spread comes in race 4. No real strong opinion. Top pick is Mine for Passion. So here's where I kind of drew the line in the sand, Ashley. My best bet of the day is Ricochet in race 5, and he's going to be a price. And so I'm going to single him to try to get some added value. He's loose in there. The scratch hurts his value of Laker Mamba. It also helps him on the lead. Ricochet's got no excuses today. He's on a send mission. I'm hoping he forgets to stop, and that'll get me a lot of value at the end, $36.
I think Ricochet's about 8 to 1 on the morning line.
Yeah.
So you mentioned some value in there. An affordable ticket, $36. I'm curious, looking at your ticket, to see who you used on top in here. I am going to guess you might have gone with the outside, the number 9, Street Facts.
Yeah, let's take a look at a replay, too, of Street Facts, who's now going to go off the claim for Aubrey Mirage. We've got the replay here. He's the 2 horse. Here's Bob Marco, odds on for Pletcher, and he's going to win easily here. But, Street Facts doing the dirty work here. He's on the hard chase, and that's never an ideal trip when you're, on the hard chase against a soon-to-be odds-on winner. And he's going to come off it a little bit late. And, he tried to win the battle, and he lost the war because of it. So he wasn't able to get second. But I thought he held together relatively nicely, Ashley. I mean, we're talking about $25,000 maiden claimers here. He could have easily given it up, called it a day. No, he gutted it out for third. And I think today, nice outside attack post, couple scratches down inside. I don't think he's going to be chasing anyone odds on in here. I think he's in a good spot off the claim for a barn that we know can be pretty crafty.
You can see in the stretch there, the second place finisher ends up passing him, but Street Facts really clear the rest of the field. I think he was about 6 in front of the 4th place finisher. And, you showed the replay. I have a stat here I wanted to share, just kind of looking at Aubrey Marat. First off the claim with maidens the past 5 years. It is a small sample. 4 for 13, though, 31%, 54% in the money with $1.78 ROI. So it seemed like last time the light bulb certainly went on for this horse. So we're both in agreement here with the number 9, Street Facts. From here, I think there are different directions you can go and make some different cases for the horses. Let's go with the number 5, Awesome Crusader for Ralph Nix, who disappointed last time out, but I thought the race 2 back was the one to maybe key in on.
Yeah, I thought both of these efforts were better than it looked. Now, you're right. He did disappoint last time, but he had no chance at all. He was just way too far behind, and there was a controlling odds-on winner that day. You're right. The race 2 back really is a big effort. The winner ran off that day, loose on the lead. Another race where Awesome Crusader didn't get a lot of flow help. Now, he's always at the mercy of the pace, too. But, again, I think he's been running better races. I think he's been coming out of better races, too.
I think so, too. And finally, the number 6, Raps Venture, 15 to 1 on the morning line. Not sure we'll get the price with a couple of scratches in here. It's second-time starter for Lisa Lewis, so it's an equipment change. Also going to drop.
Yeah, I mean, we lost 33 points on the morning line, so the odds are going to be skewed. Take note of that. But I didn't think this horse ran terribly on debut against Maiden Special Weight at 47, 48 to 1. Why can't he be tighter and sharper today? Blinkers go on, too. Lisa Lewis, a very, very good horse for him.
That's race 1. We'll move on to race 2, a starter optional claiming event, staying on the Tapeta here at 1 mile and a 16th. Looking at this group, we pretty much have a lot of the same horses here. Let's start with the number 1, Akuga for Antonio Sano, who was 4th last time out at this level.
Yeah, another replay to take a look at here. Going to be the 4 horse. It just completely gets whacked out of it around the far turn. It's going to be widest, not even in your picture right now. And it's, I'm not saying she would have won, but she was going to be a lot closer. And she's got to swoop them here, which is, never really ideal. And she's going to get pushed even wider on the far turn. I thought she ran on nicely. Tippin having to go way out here. I mean, what is she, about 8, 9, 10 wide there, and still ran on pretty nicely. Now we're going to get Jose Ortiz aboard, and we're down inside today. hopefully we can work out a trip, a little better trip, and not have to tip like we did. And, I think she's very, very logical in a race where, I kind of found it a little difficult to go too far outside the box.
It is, and then also to note, just last time out, she was facing winners for the
Yeah.
first time out, so I
Good
think
point.
it was a good race from her after that maiden win at the $16,000 level. My top pick used a little further down, the number 4 Mount Sinai, who was second last time out at the $35,000 claiming level. I think the big thing to note here only has been in those sprints so far is going to stretch out today.
Yeah, by Vancouver out of a La de Sanamo mare, so it's in there. Not ideal, but it's in there to get 2 turns. Shakalos has been very, very good in her last 2 starts. She had the misfortune of chasing her home. She's got tactical speed sprinting. That typically plays well when you're out.
And then the 5, No Nanette No. This one was 6th last time out, coming out of that 7.5 furlong turf sprint. And that was the first start for the new connections off the claim.
Yeah, and didn't run poorly at all. And Luis Saez is here now. I mean, that was a decent race for the level. The winner was good that day, and now we go second off the layoff. Maybe we can get back to it. And I thought, obviously, we're getting back to the Tapeta as well, and that's a good thing for her.
That is a key thing to note. Race 3, we moved to the turf course. 7.5 furlongs is the distance. These are $20,000 claimers looking for that 3rd lifetime win. Not too shocked here to see us on the same horse in terms of our top pick, the number 7, Alley Oop John. First off the claim for Danny Gargan today was at the $35,000 level. They claimed this one for $35,000 back in January, dropping today.
Not ideal. Not easy to improve off Mike Dove in the pink and yellow, and Mike Maker as well. I was surprised to see Danny, I'm going to say only 13% off the claim. He actually won off the claim yesterday. But this is a really, really sharp barn, and here's Luis Saez as well. And, just maybe actually Alley-oop Johnny is a $20,000 claimer, and so maybe we don't have to get too worried about the drop. It's not ideal, but, if he gets this purse, everything's copacetic here. So I thought he was the one from close range.
And I think the key thing to note last time out, it was scheduled for the turf, moved to the Tapeta.
Yep.
It was his first time over any sort of synthetic surface, and he tired in there after being the pace setter. And looking at the opening quarter, they did go kind of fast, I think, a little bit
Sure.
for that group on that surface. So from there, we'll talk about the number 4, Steak and Cheese, who's 2-1 on the morning line out of the Mike Maker barn. As another one that had to kind of race on the washed off surface onto the Tapeta against starter allowance competition and finished last in that group.
Yeah, this is the horse to beat. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Look at his turf form. It's just better than these. Now you're allowed to wonder which way he's going after kind of a dud, as you said last time, and at about 8 to 5 2 back, he couldn't get it done for 40 at Del Mar. So now he's in for 20. Not the best sign. I get that, but if he's still firing his best shot, he's going to be tough in here.
For me in the second spot, Al Halal, the number 2 for Juan Avila. Paco Lopez was aboard last time out at the $20,000 level, was able to secure that 2nd lifetime win. I thought it was a good performance for this one, a career best, but I liked the trip that this one was able to get and make up ground late. And I think when you go back to 2-3 races ago, he faced Famous Gent, Buenissimo, decent horses for that $20,000 level. So while people are, other horses I should say are dropping in here, he's kind of staying with it.
I think that's fair. I mean, he rises in class, but I've said it a lot. You come in off a win against these lower level claimers. It's not a bad thing. He got help last time by a collapsing pace. I don't know if they'll go that quick today, but you're right. You're allowed to question the form of Steak and Cheese and Alley-oop Johnny. You don't have to question about Al Halal.
Not at all. Race 4, first dirt race on the card. Maiden special weight competition, 3-year-olds and up. 1 mile and a 16th is the distance. And there we go. A stone cold super here in race 4. We start with the number 2, Mind for Passion for Brian Lynch, who just was denied last time out.
Yeah, I'm surprised we have the first 4 because I used all 4 of these horses in my early pick 5. I had a real problem with this race, to be honest with you. I just thought maybe Mind for Passion could offer a hint of value. I thought she ran well last time. It was her first time going 2 turns, the short finish line today. And I would assume, Ashley, the 5 Silver Spur gets clear in here on a send mission on the stretch out, and it puts Mind for Passion theoretically outside stalking her. If Silver Spur comes up against it late, I think it puts Mind for Passion in the right spot in the mid-stretch.
Speaking of Silver Spur, this one out of the Saffie Joseph Jr. barn finished second last time out after having a couple months off, was stretching out in distance from 7 furlongs, and mentioned it was kind of the first off a little bit of a layoff. I do have a stat here for Saffie Joseph Jr. that I wanted to share, just kind of looking at his numbers with these sorts of horses. Maiden second off 45 to 180 days. The windows the past 2 years, 20% from a sample size of 46. In the money, though, this is the key part, 70% of the time, $1.23 ROI. So not a strong ROI by any means. Win percentage a little low, but Silver Spur, looking at the performances, should get a piece.
Yeah, she's fine, right? Or he's fine, but he's a little tough to trust too. And you know, he kind of has been running the same race every time. Maybe it's 2 turns that wakes him up. Maybe he controls a little bit. But you know, if he's a short price, and he probably will be an underlay for Safi and Jose Ortiz, I wouldn't want to play him on top. I used him defensively in here.
And we'll just touch upon the 4 Chrome Republic, who I thought was intriguing off that most recent performance here on the slop on January 5th. Finished 3rd, split that field, but wasn't beaten by much, and the winner came back out to win.
Yeah, so you said it was in the slop, and that's really where by far his best number. If he can duplicate that on dry land today, he's a huge threat in here, because that was a very, very fast race, and the winner scalded and came right back to win again.
We'll take a quick break here, and then we'll come to race 5, Rainbow 6 time, and I know Ron Nicoletti has a ticket, so we'll take a look at that in a minute.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground bumper inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back to Gulfstream Park today. Race 5 is where we'll pick things up. This is the start of the Rainbow 6, $35,000 claimers, going a mile and a 16th on the turf course, non-winners of 2 life. Ron's not up here, but I know we have a ticket to show for him, and I'm curious to see. Yep, it's 43.20, no shocker there. He uses 3 horses in here. We'll touch upon race 5 in a minute. Race 6, he just uses 2 runners. The number 3, Sprout Wings, and the 5, She's All Woman. Race 7 and race 8 just too deep, and you can see Ron really decides to use 3 in both races 9 and 10. And kind of looking at race 9, uses the 1 Cashier's Check, as well as the number 5 Cannalito, and the 6 Birdman Ritchie. And then to wrap things up in the nightcap, he uses the 3 Board Certified, the 7 Bogiemeister, and the 9 Grand Sir, all of which I think are intriguing in that spot. So as always, 43.20 from Ron Nicoletti. Let's dive more though into race number 5 specifically. I'm curious to get your thoughts on this race, in this turf race. And I can see we have all the same horses, but I struggled too with the order of picking them. The number 4 Ricochet, your top pick in here.
Yeah, so that's my best bet of the day, and it might be a little aggressive. I think 8-1 on the morning line. We'll get knocked down off of that with the scratches. But, you know, I don't know a lot about this race, Ashley. I do know one thing, though. Ricochet will be in front, and it depends how far he can go. That remains to be seen. I don't think he's going to have to work as hard to make the front as he did last time, and he paid the price late. It was a hot pace that day, and it kind of fell apart, and the winner was good. Ricochet won't have to work that hard today. Paco is aboard now. We know we're going. He's the controlling speed. Speed can carry horses over this turf course. Maybe he takes a deep breath and gets brave.
He's had some good performances. I mean, look when he was second at Kentucky Downs. I know it was going 6.5, but obviously when he's forwardly placed, he has his best chance, and you have to like Paco Lopez and the iron with that move. Towards the outside, the number 9 Tackle, my top pick. Another first off the claim for Danny Gargan, who has a bit of second-nitis based on that track record. 11 starts, 6 seconds, but just narrowly defeated in those last 2.
Yeah, and you know what I failed to mention earlier when I said Danny surprisingly 13% off the claim. It's higher now with the win. He doesn't claim a lot of horses either, so it's significant when a barn, a high percentage barn that doesn't make a lot of claims, reaches in, and that's what you get for Tackle. I've definitely got him in my mix. This outside post is not ideal, but he gets help by a couple scratches to his inside.
And then we both landed in the second spot. The number 1, Take a Chance for Catherine Dave Phillips, was third last time out at this level, going slightly shorter, and actually had the lead late and surrendered.
Yeah, she does a very, very good job up at Woodbine, so the horses that she brought down for the winner, you know, theoretically are here to fire good shots. Take a Chance did that last time at the level. Second off a little bit of a layoff, saves all the ground down inside, won't let Ricochet get that far in front either. Take a Chance in with a chance.
Race 6 is late pick 5 time, 12 5 claimers, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upward, 7 furlongs on the main track. I'm curious to see how many singles you have maybe in this sequence today.
Yeah, I've got 2, and it's a weird sequence. It's the old the old pyramid sequence. So here's the single. She's all woman for Safi off the claim. And then a little bit of a spread in race 7. My Romeo Lima on the outside for Pletcher. Another single. Quick Tempo's in a great spot off the claim today. And here's the chaos in the late double, which I'm hoping for. Birdman Richie is in there. And then in the finale, we go to the inside a little bit. Siango. Excuse me, we're going to go board certified. That's my long shot play of the day. I'm using Siango. But board certified, who Ronnie used in the Rainbow as well, is my long shot play of the day for Jorge Duarte getting to the turf.
2 singles, a $30 ticket, and you single in here. The number 5, She's All Woman, I think rightfully so, is actually claimed for 12.5 last time out. Has had a couple months off, but that was a pretty big win last out.
Yeah, and it's Safi, and it's Frank Calabrese, and you know, it's Tyler. These are potent connections, and just wheeling right back at the level, and I don't really necessarily think Safi needs to improve this horse from Bobby Hess, and if he does, then it's all over, because she's probably better than these as is. If we get a little improvement, she's going to be very tough.
We both like the number 1 Time to Two-Step out of the Peter Walder barn. Was second last time out, well defeated by Pretty Rachel, but we know Pretty Rachel, quite the win machine, especially last year. Well defeated, but still clear of the rest in the field.
Yeah, I mean, Pretty Rachel just shows up every 3 weeks and drubs the field and goes about her business. So Time for Two-Step ran well to be second in her wake. You see the win 2 back, tactical to be around throughout.
And then Gray Charlotte, your second selection in here, was at the $20,000 level last time out after coming in from New York and New Jersey after a couple starts there. Obviously, tougher competition in Monmouth and Belmont, and last time out maybe needed a race?
Yeah, I think that's it, and she's probably supposed to be here. She really hasn't fired in her last 2. So look back, her last dirt race at the Shore, 2 turns, was a really, really sharp third, and that would probably, if not get it done here, it would put her right in the mix.
Race 7 is on the Tapeta, maiden special weights, 3-year-olds. This is the start of the late pick 4, and I decided to put a ticket together. We'll see if I can get this home. Tough day yesterday with going 5 out of 6 in the Rainbow, so we'll try the late pick 4. 3 horses in here. The number 1, Greg's Honor. The 3, Tyson, as well as the 8, My Romeo Lima. Race 8, just 2 runners. Fort and Hill to me and Quick Tempo look very tough in race 8. Race 9, the 1, Cashier Check, as well as the number 7, Eternal Rast, who's 5-1 on morning line. I hope I can get that price because I think that horse is intriguing. And then to wrap things up, I have a couple of the horses that you guys like, the 7, Bogiemeister, and the number 9, Grand Sir. But I wonder about the 8, Bluto's Candy, first off the claim for Kelly Breen. So an affordable $18 ticket here in the late pick 4. Looking more at the maiden special weight race number 7. Several directions to go to. It's an interesting bunch of horses. Looking at kind of the trainers in here, there's 2 for Todd Pletcher, and we both landed on the number 8, My Romeo Lima, for Todd, who finished 3rd on debut in a pretty good performance.
I thought it was a very good performance. It's hard to win going 2 turns on debut. It's a taxing kind of race. He ran very, very well. They paid $610, right, for a Malibu Moon. That's a big, big number for the Lowe's, who own Colonel Liam. And so Todd's obviously done good work with them. You know, bumped and steadied a little bit, too. If he improves, you know, he's going to throw down a race. The rest of these might have trouble handling.
And it was nice to see him debut on the Tapeta and also stay on the Tapeta today.
Point.
The other horse for Todd, the number 3, Tyson, a first-time starter by Tappet. This one bred and owned by Hillendale and Stretch Run. So nice little Kentucky bred here who's got a string of works, pretty consistent works at Palm Beach Downs.
So I don't have a story on this horse, but he's by Tappet out of a Smart Strike mare. And I've always thought if you're going to name a horse, you know, Tyson, after someone historic,
It's got to be a good one.
they got to be okay, right? A plug. So I would think this horse can run a little bit, but he's the same story of My Romeo Leah last time. Running on 2 turns on debut, especially on the Tapeta, easier said than done. But with that being said, it wouldn't shock me in the least if he fires a big one.
I like that logic of a name play in here. It's got to be a good one with a name like Tyson. The 1, Greg's Honor, out of the Mark Hennig barn, actually going to be the first start off the claim. They claimed this one in that maiden optional here on February 6th that was rained off, moved to the Tapeta. I thought it was a good performance. This horse was able to kind of close from last and picked up a check in second.
Good to see Mark get a win the other day. And again, he's kind of like I mentioned with Danny Gargan earlier on, Mark doesn't claim a lot of horses. You look at the stat, though, he's 2 for 9. So, he's been pretty sharp at it. This horse ran well on debut for Brendan Walsh. No reason he can't move forward.
All right, we'll move on to race 8, an allowance optional claiming event, 6 furlongs on the main track. It's a compact field of 6, but there's a couple nice horses in here. A lot of these horses have actually dabbled into graded stakes competition. They might have not fared well, but there's some talent in here, and we kind of went both went with the number 6 Quick Tempo. First off the claim for Carlos David. This is a stakes winner back in the day.
Yeah, this horse is all right. Now let's take a look at the replay last time too, because he took all the worst of it down inside on the Tapeta. He's dueling here early. Dubai Key wins this race. He loves the Tapeta. Quick Tempo was not familiar with it, had never been over it. You're not going to win a lot of races going 21-1 down on the inside, getting pressed the entire way by the winner. So that's not ideal. Now, conversely, we go back to the main track today. We go inside to outside. Quick Tempo gets all the best of it for Carlos David, 29% off the claim. Here's Luis Saez. He's probably got speed to press to the inside. Maybe he's the controlling speed. Regardless, he's in the perfect spot. And Ashley, I think he's also in the perfect spot because Fortin Hill, he's still sticking around at age 6, 5 lifetime starts. He hasn't been out in coming a year and a half.
Yeah, the only other thing I want to mention on Quick Tempo, you talk about, getting back onto the dirt today after the Tapeta. To me, I think this horse is a little bit better on the dirt. And some of those races in terms of figures, 5 for 7 in the money, 2 of which have been wins. So I think that's a huge thing to kind of note with Quick Tempo. And you said Fortin Hill. Sticking around as a 6-year-old, hasn't been seen since the summer of 2020 at Saratoga when this one took a stab at the Grade 1 Forgo and didn't really fare well at all. It was forwardly placed and tired in there and has been on the shelf since then. A string of great workouts at Payson Park and most recently at Gulfstream Park. If someone's going to get this horse off the layoff, Bill Mott is certainly your guy, and I want to just jump to the trainer stat here because to me it's an incredible stat. You don't see this with a lot of trainers, but looking at 180 days, so 6 months to 2 years, basically, off the layoff the past year, 25% from a sample size of 40, 48% in the money with $1.50 ROI. So pretty impressive stat for the barn.
Yeah, and one of the 1,000 reasons why Bill's in the Hall of Fame, as good a horseman as we've seen in my lifetime. And they paid a lot of money way back when for Fortin Hill. So here's the positive. The fact that he's coming back at 6, and he's still a horse, and maybe they say, you know what, we think we might be able to do some things with this horse. That's a big positive. And you've got Bill in your corner as well, and Jose Ortiz is going to ride. The negative is there's got to be some kind of rust here, and you're allowed to say, you know what, why would he be cranked off such a layoff? They think he might be able to do a few things this year. So I'm going to take the wait-and-see approach, at least on top.
And finally, rough entry, no stranger to Gulfstream Park. 5 out of the 6 career wins have come here over the main track. Was on a win like terror here. I mean, won 5 in a row. Then they took some chances, went to Churchill Downs and Aqueduct. Obviously, the race at Churchill and that stake didn't go as planned. And then Aqueduct didn't perform too well in the fall highway.
No, he didn't. So, he's back, and we've got to see what we're going to get from him today off reel 2. Disappointing, duds. He had trouble, the 2 back. But you got Rohan Crichton in your corner, and that's pretty darn good of late. I mean, the barn has just been firing on all cylinders. The work's sort of whisper ready here. He's got some speed, too.
Final 2 races on the card, so it's late double time in race 9, starter optional claiming event on the Tapeta. Looking at this group going a mile and a 16th. We're all over the place with the same 4 horses. Let's start with your top pick in here, the number 6, Birdman Richie.
Yeah, I think we got one last replay to show on Birdman Richie. Is that possible? Okay, we do. Good. I'm not losing it totally. He's got no flow help. Here's the winner. Cashier check, up right on the pace here. And here's Birdman Richie lagging in the back, and it's just not what you want to do, going 48-4 here, and he almost gets shuffled a little bit too. And obviously the winner's going to get first run. He's going to get the jump on him, and Birdman Richie is it's not the trip you want to pull when you're trying to loop a field. I think he's going to get more speed to run into today. I know we have a couple scratches, and one of them, France Strike, was a little bit late, I think. He's also down inside, and probably a broken record here. I don't think that's the spot you want to be, for the most part, on the Tapeta, and he's going to get a little more hitting up front, I think. And this is a race they went around 1-2 together, and they didn't stop. I thought he ran pretty credibly, Ashley, to come up and get third with just not the flow he needs. It
wasn't an ideal flow, and he had a lot of work to do late, but he still showed something in that race. I go directly to his outside of the number 7, Eternal Rest, who I'm hoping to be a bit of a price come a post time. A big thing here, has early foot, and we've talked about on the Tapeta. not necessarily to your advantage. Some horses can handle it, though. Last time out, finished 5th. I think kind of looking at some of these races, though, the horses that he's faced, I know Peter D hasn't shown up in his last couple starts. He couldn't hang with Peter D, but the race I'm keen in on is actually 2 back. Going to mile and 70, the winner Credibility. We will see tomorrow in the Palm Beach for trainer Mark Casse. Crossed the wire in second, was disqualified and placed 3rd, but I think that is the race to really key in on.
Yeah, good point. I like Credibility tomorrow as well. I used him in my dollar pick 5. They're all turf pick 5 between Gulfstream and Santa Anita. He's tactical and he's drawn well to be outside the other speed because there are faster horses than him to his inside. That puts Eternal Rest in the right spot.
And finally, the 5 Cannalito. The reason I want to touch upon him, I remember this very vividly. January 1st, we didn't have him anywhere, and he was a pretty big winner in there. Drew clear by 7 with a 70 buyer while facing $16,000 maidens.
Yeah, Jonathan Thomas and Luis Saez getting together. JT and Saez are 31% together. It's a very, very strong barn.
And he does well with winners last out and kind of having this amount of time off. Nightcap, race 10, a mile on the turf, $35,000 meeting claimers, 3-year-olds here. Let's start with the number 3 board certified. I know you and Ronnie both like this horse. I use him further on underneath in my selections, but 10-1 on the morning line.
Yeah, so he's woken up a little bit, right, on the Tapeta, but also going 2 turns. And so now we're going to try turf 2 turns. And he ran in a special weight on debut at Laurel. It didn't work out. You know, Jorge Duarte is not necessarily a prolific first out barn, and it was probably going too short. Well, now he's maybe just a better horse, especially going long. We're well drawn inside. He's tactical. And I don't really know who he's supposed to be scared of in here. And he could be a square price as well. So there's the long shot for me today.
Maybe we'll have to see how Cannalito does in the race before that, because 2 starts back, he was 3rd against him. He was beat by 7.5, but Cannalito was 7 clear. So to see where this horse fell, I think a 3rd in that race was pretty good, considering it was a big field as well. I go to the number 8 in here, Blue Dose Candy. First off the claim for Kelly Breen, which kind of shocks me again. This is one of those situations, only 11% off the claim, and he claims, has those 46 here marked, but last time out was 3rd, beaten by 2 lengths. It's kind of really showed up in those last 2 starts, 1 on the Tapeta, 1 on the turf.
I guess I missed this horse. I didn't have him in my top 5. Kelly does a good job. He got Chestnut Checkers to win off the claim.
There you go.
That's pretty good with me, right? Golf clap to Kelly for that. So this horse can move forward. There's no doubt about it. You look at that race 2 back on the Tapeta, was pretty fast, and the turf race last time wasn't bad at all either. So Blue Dose Candy certainly in the mix here.
Jose Ortiz is going to climb aboard a Grand Sur for the first time. The number 9, Victor Barboza Jr., the trainer. I thought the performance last time out at the $35,000 level was pretty solid. Still well beaten 3rd in there, but something else to note, first-time Lasix today.
Yeah, first-time Lasix, and that's a big deal. You're right. A 19% turf barn as well, and, we're going to get Jose Ortiz to ride as well, so this is a big jock upgrade, too.
All right, well, that's the 10 race program for today. We have a lot to get to in the lightning round, so I've left us plenty of time to do so. Several items on our menu here. So let's kick it off with what tomorrow is. First Saturday, obviously a huge day of racing here, both at Gulfstream Park and Santa Anita.
Yeah, 15 stakes, and we've got it wall to wall here, both Gulfstream Park with the Fountain of Youth, of course, and it's Big Cap Day out at Santa Anita, a loaded card there as well. We've got a lot of different things going on, contests and things like that too.
Yeah, with that $5 million free-to-play contest that you can go onto first.com/first-Saturday and enter. It's free to play. I think anyone that can have their chance at $5 million wants to participate. So good luck. You have to pick the stakes winners, all 15 of them with 1 horse.
I'm good for like 11 at least, so we'll see.
We'll move on to another item for tomorrow. Special wagers being offered between the 2 tracks. We have 2 coast-to-coast pick 5s. You can see here the slate for the all-stakes turf pick 5, which kicks off here at Gulfstream Park in the Palm Beach. Big fields across the board in this sequence.
Yeah, Ashley and I actually just taped a couple promos for that, so check us out on Twitter. We'll have them up there, and we did a preview of both pick 5s, turf for me, dirt for you, and 12%. I mean, listen, horse players aren't going to get any better than that. It's phenomenal. I like the dollar, too. I really do. That could lead to some big payouts. We're expecting some big pools.
You can see here the slate for the all-stakes dirt pick 5 starts with the San Carlos over at Santa Anita Park and ends with the Big Cap. Fountain of Youth is in there, as well as the Gulfstream Park Mile. So plenty of action in these pick 5s. As you mentioned, dollar minimum, 12% takeout. On first Saturday, the feature race here at Gulfstream Park. The Fountain of Youth, a big field in here. We did find out a couple days ago the number 12 Mo Donegal is going to scratch and wait for a race later on the trail. So that means the 13 Galt ends up drawing in.
Yeah, Galt a full to Songbird, correct? And and I thought Galt ran very, very well in the Holy Bull. And this is Pete's revised morning line too. So this is up to date with the scratch of Mo Donegal simplification. down inside with the Nightmare start, and the Holy Bull is going to be back. Jose Ortiz gets aboard. We've got shippers. We've got Emmanuel High Oak coming back for Lee Einseidler and Mike Francesa. I mean, there's just so much going on here, Ashley, and it's a phenomenal, deep, and competitive 3-year-old race.
And Joel Rosario was here yesterday. He's going to ride Galt in the Fountain of Youth tomorrow. Now, you mentioned Fountain Youth, big field, but so many stakes, 9 specifically here at Gulfstream Park, 8 of which are graded. And I think we have some slates to show for these races because there's just a bunch of them. We'll start with the slate for the Canadian Turf, grade 3. It's a field of 7, but some interesting horses in here, especially Never Surprised.
The horse who would be king if it wasn't for his stablemate, right? He ran so big to Colonel Liam in the Pegasus World Cup Turf, and now he's back. And, you know, this is a good spot for him to pick up a W, and I would think his connections, Todd and Mike Rapoli, I would think they're expecting a big, big campaign for him after he ran so well, really, you know, tackling the big guys for the first time.
Not surprising to see 4 to 5 on the morning line. He just looks great in the Canadian Turf. We'll show our next slate coming up next, looking at some of the other stakes action, the Very One, a grade 3 event, a field of 9, and I honestly felt like this was a pretty evenly matched field with a couple runners in here. Harajuku for Graham Motion, the 8 Beautiful Lover, the 9 Sorrel, and then the 5 Virginia Joy. I mean, this is kind of competitive, those 4.
I agree, and Virginia Joy is coming back off a July layoff for Chad and Peter Brandt. So if you're saying maybe she needs one, maybe she's prepping for better, then all bets are off, and you could go so many different ways in here. A really, really competitive race.
I think we still have one more slate to
2
show.
more, I think.
2 more. Wow, we're very busy today in the lightning round. We'll move to our next slate here, the Palm Beach. This is the start of that coast-to-coast all-stakes turf pick 5. Mark Cassidy has 2 runners in here, the 1 and 2, Credibility and Coinage. Royal Spirit doesn't have to face the stablemate Grand Sonata today, so interesting to see how this one plays out.
Ugh, Royal Spirit beat me up last time I needed him. It's a good race. This 3-year-old division is so tough on the turf.
And finally, I think we have one more slate to show here for our final undercard race, the McDermott Grade 2 event. A lot of familiar trainers in here with a couple in here. That includes Todd Pletcher and Mike Maker. The morning line favorite, though, the number 1, Aban.
Yeah, he's been awesome in his last 2. He showed a new gear last time, doesn't need the lead anymore. And, you know, in the clubhouse right now, it's a division that, you know, typically takes a lot of sorting out. You got to beat him to take the title of going long distance on the turf.
With tomorrow also just being a Saturday in general, that means it's Beat the Expert time, and the man in the hot seat is going to be the legend, Ron Nicoletti. He's got a lot of handicapping to do with those 13 races, so don't forget to enter this on Gulfstream Park's website.
Yeah, and Ronnie will be back with us throughout the day today, and I don't know, he just goes out there and posts 5-6 winners every day, so you better sharpen the handicapping pencil if you want to beat Ronnie.
Yeah, better record some hours tonight looking at the form, and looking at yesterday's program, 9 races on tap on Thursday. A pretty nice performance, though, from Nostalgic. I think we have a stretch run, hopefully, to show here. Liam's map went off at even money, but once Nostalgic got by, the race was over.
Yeah, added Lasix for this Godolphin homebred, and I was way against her. This is a short finish line, don't forget, too. And she was awesome, and there you see it, Gulfstream Oaksbound. I mean, it's a 3-year-old filly division that's still sorting itself out, and that was a defining performance for her. It'll be interesting to see A, where she goes, B, how she responds to it.
Yeah, and just to see how she kind of just took off in the stretch. Obviously, I think added distance shouldn't be to harm her in any way. She seems to love the extra distance. So that wraps up yesterday. Let's move forward to this weekend, though. Some exciting news after first Saturday. After you get that all done on Saturday, Sunday, March 6th, a mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six. We estimate that pool to be over $2 million.
Yeah, I know we've got a huge card tomorrow, but we're right back on it. So it just makes for a huge weekend here at Gulfstream Park, and you see it expecting over $2 million. We go today with $250 in the gross guarantee, and after tomorrow, should it not be hit, it's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, we're keeping you busy. 10 races today.
Tough card, too.
Yes, 10 races today, 13 on Saturday. You mentioned a tough 12-race card on Sunday, so start doing your homework, and we'll be back in a little bit here. We're going to throw things up to Pete Aiello to get the track conditions and scratches, and the two of us, as well as Ron Nicoletti, will be back throughout the afternoon.
I remember the first time I came to Gulfstream, it was like this big fairy tale place.
We back.
Northern Dancer, winner of the Florida Derby.
Yeah.
All the history, all these great horses, trainers, jockeys.
It is Barbaro to the final furlong. He is a neck in front. Barbaro wins!
It was everything that I ever dreamed of.
Sunday silence surges to the front.
first day, opening day of the championship meet, I was kind of starstruck. You're watching LeBron James, and then next thing you know, you're playing basketball against him. That's how I felt when I'm riding with Donnie V, riding with Irad, Luis.
So many famous people come, Post Malone, Pharrell, J-Lo was there. It's epic.
The weather is beautiful. The facility is phenomenal.
It's all about Knicks Go. Knicks Go makes it 4 in a row.
It's one of the most beautiful tracks in the country, surrounded by some of the greatest horses and riders. It's amazing.
I'd always had a really deep love of animals. When I started riding, I felt that instant connection. It was this horse Siren that she was a thoroughbred, she'd been on the racetrack. It really shaped me growing up because I had to learn how to be confident, but I also had to be compassionate. And she really was that first love I had of a horse.